Gaslighting thrives on doubt. Gaslighting thrives on your silence. So I want you to trust your gut. It's often picking up on manipulations before your conscious mind can even process them. All right, I always want to jump into my favorite part, a little bit of the science behind our topic today. So why does gaslighting even work? It kind of sounds absurd. It's not just psychological, it's physiological. You see, gaslighting triggers your brain's fear and stress response systems. It causes real, measurable change. Now, you've heard me mention amygdala hijacking before, and I plan to do an entire episode on this, but just a quick overview. So the amygdala, your brain's fear center, and everything else, survival brain, lizard brain, all the things we've called it on this show, your amygdala goes into overdrive. This puts you in a constant state of fight or flight or freeze or fawn, leaving you hypervigilant and emotionally reactive. So this automatically happens, and you're not able to respond in the moment thoughtfully because you are in full reactivity. Second, the hippocampal suppression. Chronic stress impairs your hippocampus, which is part of your brain responsible for your memory. Now, this makes it harder to recall events clearly, something gaslighters exploit. So often, you can be easily convinced that maybe you thought something was something and it wasn't, or you misremembered. And third, your prefrontal cortex impairment. The stress also impacts your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, your adult brain, your evolved brain, which governs logic and decision-making. This makes you more vulnerable to manipulation because your thinking brain is entirely offline. So here's how gaslighting impacts your brain on a physiological level. When someone gaslights you, it triggers your amygdala, that part of your brain that's responsible for the fear and the emotional responses. This floods you with that lovely neuromodulator, cortisol, that we talked about, and the cortisol hijacks your ability to think clearly, and it creates that fight, flight, freeze, fawn response that we've talked about. So over time, repeated gaslighting that is causing this reactionary response in your body, repeated gaslighting conditions your brain to expect stress. Then that part of your brain, that hippocampus, which helps you process and recall memories, begins to shrink under this constant strain. That's part of that brain damage that I've talked about how stress really does affect your brain. So this makes it harder to trust your recollections of events. Meanwhile, that prefrontal cortex, that part of your brain responsible for the logic and the decision-making, becomes so much less effective. This is how you start questioning your reality. This is how it starts the snowball effect of you not being sure if you can trust your own memories, your own thoughts, your own beliefs of what you believe happened, even in situations where you are certain, 99.9% certain of the facts. This is why gaslighting doesn't just undermine your confidence. It actually rewires your brain. It changes the neural pathways, making it so hard to trust yourself again. It takes a lot of work to get back from that place, and I don't want you going there.